Welcome to the Pill Diaries. It's Craig. I wanted to speak about, this is more just for Americans. Actually, it is kind of for everyone. America's the example here. If anyone has been not living on the moon, and in America, I kind of want to, it'd be nice to understand. It's a pity I don't have more than 5 people watching my channel. But, you know, if I could find out there, for people living in America, is it that you haven't been shown who Tulsi Gabbard actually is as a person? Or that you believe the first piece of propaganda that came out that said, hey, look, here's a blurry as fuck photograph of her pulling an Illuminati sign in front of the House of Representatives. Or it might have been in front of Congress, can't remember. There's a blurry as hell photograph out there. There are 2 talking points. Talking points are basically propaganda feed that you will repeat as if you have knowledge yourself, right? Instead of actually having knowledge. So people will spend 30 seconds listening to some idiot who has something to say. You know, like when you get these truther channels online, and then you get people who are the real truthers, and then you get someone calling them out for being a deep state truther. Look, I will admit that people like Joe Rogan are probably controlled opposition, right? But Tulsi Gabbard, let's say she is, okay, put it this way. If you look at all the evidence in every single politician in America, left and right, and even in even people like Gary Johnson, there's no way that woman is controlled. But if she is, then the game is completely over. What I would say the best tactic would be for America is vote that woman in and just see if your system's fake. Because if she's a turncoat, right, like Liz Warren and all these other people, and you know they're putting, it's just ridiculous. They're putting forward a person who is blatantly senile. It's not the case that Joe Biden might be senile. He is senile. He's actually in quite advanced stages of senility. Anyone will tell you this who works in the medical profession. Anyone will tell you this who's had someone in their family who's had a slow decline of senile dementia. The guy has senile dementia. It's not a maybe. But you know, then you've got the other insider who I used to like. I don't like him anymore. He's just a piece of shit. Bernie Sanders. You know, if you are in politics and you look, the guy made over $1 million off a book deal, right? So let's say last time when he came with the scar on his face back in 2016, and then oh, I'm with her, you know, it just looked so ridiculous, looked like being beaten up. Just leave politics. I mean, it's not like Hillary Clinton likes him. Just leave politics altogether. It's not like you're ever going to win. You already know that every time you get close, all you're going to do is basically develop a jelly spine and just become spineless, and you're just going to let all your supporters down, and all you're going to do is feed evil. Because I really believe this world, what's going on right now is we have like a yin-yang situation. The whole of Earth is a single organism. We're all just like the fleas on your dog, or the I don't know, the worms in your eyebrows. There's actually a type of parasitic worm that's in everyone's eyebrows apparently. But you know, our whole body's an ecosystem of parasites and living organisms, right? The same thing is true on a macro scale when it comes to the Earth, the universe, all the planets together, you know. Everything's almost fractal if you look at it that way, in that respect. Everything, you just zoom in smaller and it looks the same again, you know. So I really believe all you're doing, all people like Bernie Sanders are doing, is feeding the collective evil. Oh, disappointment. Oh, we got there. We spent all this money. We did all these marches. And oh, we got nowhere again. Wah, 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 wah. You know, I don't buy into it. I think it's all bullshit. But I think there's only one caveat with Tulsi Gabbard, is because I believed the same thing about Bernie Sanders before, and he proved himself. Once he actually got to the position of actually being not ignored, he was then defrauded, and then never said a fucking word about it. So it makes me think, is everyone controlled opposition? Is it just different layers of the onion? Because Bernie Sanders certainly is. Joe Biden, I mean, there's videos around from him from the over 40 years ago, where he was in his 30s still, and basically blatantly said, because these are the days where you could mention this sort of stuff, because it wasn't the kind of same super PAC situation like you've got nowadays. He basically said that he tried to his words were prostitute himself out, and yet they weren't. They said, come back when you're over 40. Well, now he's over 40, isn't he? The thing is, now he's a doting old senile idiot, and he's trying to deny this sort of stuff about Hunter, his son Hunter, and his other family who have taken bribes on his behalf. The whole thing is it's just like a big, I don't know, it's like some kind of incestuous corruption orgy. It just needs to end. You're looking at the situation with, countries like Venezuela, many other countries in this world that have equal corruption. Looking at the UK is the pinnacle of corruption, is England, sorry. I know that Scotland has corruption as well. I know that the paedophile bullshit that goes on in England is also prevalent in Scotland as well. Just not as much as what it is in England, but I'm pretty sure it's fairly prevalent. I know it's going to be used. All these situations that are going on, such as, oh hey, 1 second. Okay, just my friend I'm just dropping off some beer and cigarettes to a friend of mine, to a couple of friends. He's just going to have a shit. Anyway, the corruption, the situation in Scotland, that will get derailed. The independence movement will get derailed again. Why coronavirus? Oh, it's all so convenient. Everything fits in perfectly well. Oh, look, coronavirus that kills more people than any other country in Iran. Oh, and then America bombs them a few days later. How despicable. Everyone's indoors, all, they know that everyone's in their homes. Let's bomb the country now. It's just disgusting what's going on there. And of course, that same strain, because there's multiple strains of this bio-weapon. There's 4 different strains, apparently, of this bio-weapon. Rumble. Have a drink. Drink. Look at him go. Not bad for 80-something, eh? Yeah, there's multiple strains of this bioweapon, and the strongest 2 strains are in Iran and Italy. Italy was probably a mistake. That you had to go through the muddy bit. But, then someone like Tulsi Gabbard comes along and she wants to end these stupid wars. She wants to inspect the fact that out of nowhere they can pull this money. Now, they can pull 30 odd billion here. They can pull 1.5 trillion and give that to the banksters again. And yet, if they were to give $1,000 to every American for the next 3 months, that would cost 1.5 trillion. So why didn't they do that? How come they can always find money? Oh, no. We took budget for this and that here. Well, fine then. So next time Bernie Sanders, the plant that he is, gets asked, how are you going to fund your Medicare for all? Ta-da! The same fucking way you funded this shit. The exact same way you funded these Wall Street shills. That way. That's how we're going to do it. Or, all those bombs, like, stop 1 day of bombing, and then that'll be like 3 days of Medicare for all. I'm not saying that I'm a big campaigner for Medicare for all. I don't give a shit. What I am is I'm against the insurance companies over there. I paid. It was over $3.5 grand. It was somewhere towards $4 grand a month. I'm not that old, you know what I mean? For medical vision and all that sort of stuff, I couldn't get one dentist, one one optometrist. I couldn't get any doctor in Georgia with my stupid Peach State health plan, which is the only one I could get in that state. So I'd like to see that ending, because I can't stand. Look, I don't care about nationality. I don't care about really business or anything. All I care about was right and wrong. When there's pieces of shit making money, when there's pieces of shit making money off the back of other people's hard work, when there's scumbags that are killing other people and getting away with it, and it's not killing people who actually are bad people, it's killing good people. I want something to be done about it. I'm just a normal human being, you know what I mean? The kind that you don't find in politics or I think you don't find very often, but maybe Tulsi is. I think it's worth everyone using human. Like, how do you get around these algorithms? The only way you can get around it is for each person. I'll give you an example. On Facebook, if I put a post now of the 600 people I have on Facebook, no one will see it. Occasionally, up to 4 people will see a post, right? And that's after a few weeks of it sitting there. But generally, no one sees my posts anymore, right? What am I supposed to believe, that 600 people just went, oh, okay, let's mute stuff from Craig, you know? Yeah, when I go on the newer feature they have to add to your story, oh, then I get what? Sometimes usually get somewhere between 20 to 50 people. That's because it's more direct. It's getting round their algorithm more, because it's not a feed as such. People go on and say, oh, this person's story's here. It's cycling through all the people's names. You know what I mean? That person's active. Let me check his name. Oh, that's his story up, right? So it allows people to circumvent. And so does direct messaging. That's why on Twitter, I don't really use Twitter. I post things out to it, but I don't actually watch it. But I do go onto the messenger, and I mail shot like a whole bunch of people out on a list. That gets to people as well. And that's why the only way to solve these problems in countries that have massive paedophile epidemics like England and the USA, the only way to get around these people who basically have judges, because the judges are, I'd say that one of the most common professions for being a paedophile has to be a judge. It attracts the most disgusting people in society. Just look at Judge Jeannie, for example. Just look at Judge Judy, the TV judges. Two judges on TV, and they're both disgusting, horrible people. Really, people who abuse power. People who actually think they're cool. Like, hey, look how cool I am. Not in my courtroom. You're just showing off your egotism, your megalomania. It's not meant to be about you. It's meant to be about the law. Oh, hang on. No, it's about you, isn't it? Because you're a fucking egomaniac. Say, just 2 examples there. And when you see how many judges in New Zealand, where I used to live, in Australia, where I used to live, in the USA, where I used to live, in England, where I used to live, how many judges' names come up when anyone does any probing into paedophile cases, right? And this is why you need someone who's a normal nuclear family, because as much as you might not like the traditional nuclear family, two plus whatever, 2.5 kids and a dog, whatever it might be, you know, even if you don't like that, and you're some LGBTQIPZ, you know, whatever fucking acronym you want to add next, because the Z and the P will come. I've said this years ago, and I'm glad it's becoming commonplace to talk about this, because the whole thing about this gender identity bullshit, because it's always existed. People have always been fine with gay people. You've had the occasional people against them. You've had occasional people that are fine with them. You've had people that don't mind the, I've got nothing against trannies, whatever the hell it is. I don't have kids. I don't want you going into schools with kids and trying to indoctrinate them as if that's fucking normal, because it's not. It's freaky, it's fucked up. You do have a problem. It's like me having cancer and then going to, or some debilitating disease that's actually contagious, and going to school, hey, come on, look, look, I'm just the same as you. Let me infect you with this disease. It's fucking disgusting, right? Leave the kids alone. And I think bringing in someone who is a normal non-freak, like in New Zealand years ago, they had Helen Clarke, right? Oh yeah, a woman prime minister again. Was she the first one? No, she was the first one. They've had 3. But the thing is, she was just like not a normal person. Like her husband was like a weird kind of cuck male, weird freak, and she was just kind of like some kind of what's that group called again? Like Shania Twain kind of figurehead. Yeah, go power woman, just trying to destroy the nuclear family. Now, I'm not in that situation myself, but I do recognize it as normal. I'm not a Christian myself, but I do recognize it's the base religion of most white countries, right? Stop fucking with our culture. Stop diluting things down. Fine, welcome people in from other places. Leave your bullshit at the door. Assimilate. I've been all around the world and I've assimilated into different countries, right? If I'm gonna, mate, That's just what you do. When you don't assimilate, what you're doing is occupying someone's country. So fucking blend in, assimilate, or fuck off, you know? As far as this cultural diversity, it's a complete lie. What it is, it's cultural Marxism, and it's to effectively make, to neutralize every piece of culture in a country, especially the host culture. And then you end up, when you have, some people are just dumber than others. To have a moral compass, they need to have the crutch of religion. I've never needed that. I just know what's right and wrong. You'll be able to identify these people because when you say things and start saying, you know, this is bad, that's right, they'll say things like, oh, we know it's a slippery slope, oh, it's a fine line, oh, it's a grey area. No, it's not. Things are quite simple. Right and wrong is actually very, very fucking simple. People who think it's not, they're the ones you have to watch out for. Or you might be one yourself. Go clarify your head, get your thoughts in check. Think, what am I? Am I a piece of shit? If I am, how do I change myself into being a better person? Do I want to exert power over other people? I need to get my head checked because there's something wrong with that. And that, my friends, is how you get people, the people that we have in politics. They're attracted to power. They're attracted to their potential or their ability to abuse power in the future. And this is why I think when you release pedophiles, they should put them on a VR program with some psychotropic drugs and see if they're truly cured, because they never will be. You can put me in jail for 25 years because I'm in some weird Hillary Clinton planet where liking women is wrong. And then I'll get out. What do you think I'm going to say? Do you still like women? No. Okay. Turn off all the cameras, put everything away, put a naked lady in front of Craig, boom. Ding, boner, straight away. Of course you're going to prove it, aren't you? That it didn't work. A leopard can't change his spots in that way. Sometimes you're wired that way. I would actually suggest for anyone that is a pedo, if you have no self-control, just chop your dick off. So that's what I'd like this to get spread around the world so that people can actually listen to this sort of stuff. If I was like that, that's what I would do. I'm not kidding. I would do that. It's not a big thing. It's like, oh, well, you don't have sex the rest of your life. At least I won't be some freak who everyone wants to stone to death, because that's what should happen to you if you get caught. Actually, even if you get caught, that's what should happen to you. Right, yeah, so all I was going to say is about Tulsi Gabbard. The fact that she is not in front of everyone's faces just shows how corrupt American politics is. It just shows that there's absolutely no hope of getting someone who's not an insider into the role of President of the USA. It's surprising to me that she's not a manly woman. She's not fully feminine either, but she's not a manly woman by any stretch of the imagination. And yet she seems to have more spine, more gumption, more tenacity, more more temerity than any of these other candidates. How can that be? She's actually a woman. Well, there you go. Maybe it's actually time for a woman. I don't give a fuck. These guys that you'll get in a lot of right-wing channels that are going like, oh, you're a simp. You fucking some little pissant delta male or gamma male, most likely some unsuccessful gamma male, who is sitting in his mum's basement calling me a fucking simp. It's ridiculous. Probably still a virgin. It's just pathetic because I'm saying a good thing about a woman. I don't give a fuck if the person's an alien, just as long as they do a better job. That's what I say about my own country too. I don't care if someone's from England and they end up being the ruler of my country. As long as they live in my country and they've got my country's best interests at heart. And to be honest with you, when it comes to my country, the Scotland thing, I don't give a fuck about that either. They could segment it up into 15 different countries, as long as the people that run those 15 countries are from those areas. That's what this is about. It's not about nationalism when I go on about Scotland, just so you understand. It's actually about us being the stewards. We're the most intelligent creatures around, and we're fucking the planet because we're allowing these evil creeps to create centralized control power structures. And the same things happened in America, and it's the most advanced incarnation of this bullshit. It has basically taken the baton from England and then perfected this disgusting paradigm even more so than what England had. So England is the lapdog of America, but at the same time, it's actually the it's actually the puppet master as well, because the royal family, they have their fingers in every little pie. They've got old money going on in there. They've got control mechanisms all over the world with all their other joint scumbag countries like Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, who will do the bidding. This is why those countries have never broken free of the Queen's rule, even though they went independent. Another thing that Scotland needs to look at: why the fuck, when people go on about the Queen and stuff like that, breaking away from the UK doesn't mean breaking away from the Queen. Although breaking away from the royal family, if we did that in Scotland, would automatically nullify the union, which I think is a very good thing that should happen. Back to Tulsi Gabbard again. Even looking at some of the posts that have a few 100,000 views, that means, let's say only half of them in America. With 50,000 people, that's enough people if everyone fired off to, even if people don't want to watch it, even if they'll look at your headline, write it better to make them just watch one of the short videos of her, because it's impossible to watch her and believe those two simple seed lies. One, she wants to take her guns away. Bullshit. Two is picture with her in front of Congress pulling an Illuminati sign. Bullshit. Not even a deep fake, a pathetic fake, because it's blurry as fuck, right? So if everyone just did that, then you would get round the censorship media, and you can actually turn your country into from an evil empire into a place that is serving its people and is not committing terrorism all around the world. That's what I think needs to be done. Because these Hillary Clinton creatures and these George Bush creatures and all these, even I would even say to a degree Trump, although I don't mind him, but I'd say that there's I don't know, fine, call me crazy, I'm just saying he's not as bad as what the insane left make out that he is. But then again, he is part of a system. He does still say he wants to drain the swamp, and he brings in people like Mike Pompeo, like John Bolton. These people are war criminals. These people should be locked away for the rest of their lives. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Basically, she's a risk to them. The insider GOP, the insider DNC, she's the biggest risk they've ever faced, and that is why they blocked her nice and early. And it's allowed you to see Sanders has exposed Warren, even though he won't say anything. Biden's a piece of shit, but now he's going senile, so just go fuck off and retire. Have your last 6 months to a year with your wife while you can still recognize her face. That's how evil they are. They're so much into the agenda that Sanders and Trump and all these people, Trump's mega rich. You could say he's making the country better, but he's kind of not really. He's getting congratulated for things that weren't his doing, like the printing of money to pump up the stock market to make him to satisfy his narcissism. You know, they're all narcissists, by the way, not just Trump. I would like to think the exception is Tulsi Gabbard, but we never know until she gets in the position. That's all I'm saying. If she gets put in the position, even for 2024, but the world might be fucked by then, if she gets put in the position to actually go for that job in 2024 and she actually gets in front of human beings and they get to see her, unlike the media that's blocking her from debates right now, then people will vote for her. Because every time I see someone who's a Republican or a Libertarian, they either say, I'll vote for her, or they'll say, yeah, I would vote for someone like her. You know? It's out of it. And that's what I think both sides are scared of. Both sides are the same coin. Two sides, same coin, right? It's basically one shop with two doors, right? You come in, you see the same fat slag behind the counter. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm in a forest. I'm about to have some beer. I'm about to chop down some wood and burn it. All right, that's clearing the place out so you don't get fires, you see.